Everybody, welcome back to the Pete Perspective. If you're new to the channel, my name is Pete and I just want to extend a special welcome to you. If you could do me a favor and stop what you're doing, like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all the things. It helps the channel out a lot and I appreciate. I can't talk, man.
And it's to show you that I understand. You all appreciate it.
I appreciate the kind support. Truly means a lot, and I love doing this, so it's a lot of fun. Anyways, today we got our Apple, well, not today, Tuesday we got our Apple event, spring loaded. It lived up to the hype. By George, did it live up to the hype? We're gonna talk about the iMac today, specifically what I love, what I don't love, and let's begin. Okay, all right, on April 20th, otherwise known as 420 for all the pothead stoners out there, Apple held its spring loaded event. Now, the last time Apple had an April event was way back in the day at some point. So I heard someone else talk about this, and they actually said that the last April event was just like it announced I think it was just like an iOS. It wasn't even a product, it was like an iOS release, was the last time they had an April event. But we got all sorts of new things. If you want to check out what I was predicting / expecting, what other people who are far better at this YouTube thing were anticipating, I have another video that I just put out earlier this week, so I'll leave a card here for you to check that out. But this is my reaction to the iMac, okay? The brand new redesigned iMacs, which we got. I'm like excited about, but I will not be buying one. Some of the reasons why: it comes in 7 new colors, right? So they're going back to like the original iMacs when they had all the different colors and all that sort of cool stuff. They look incredible. There's, all sorts of, I think there's red, there's purple, there's yellow, there's silver, there's like a darker teal sort of color. And yeah, they look cool. I mean, they're thin, you have the flat edge. That's, it's starting to align. The 2018 iPad Pro is the first one to do it as far as that flat edge. And then of course the iPhone 12s this past year followed suit with the flat edges. If I'm not mistaken, this computer is 11.5 millimeters thin. Okay, notice I'm using the word thin. 11.5 millimeters thin, not thick, because this thing is really thin. So much so that instead of putting the headphone jack in the back as the current iMacs are, they had to put it on the side. Now you might be wondering, why is that? Why put the headphone jack on the side versus the back? Well, the headphone jack is actually 14 millimeters deep, right? So like that headphone jack is like yay big. And it's actually too thick to fit into the computer this way, so it had to go in that way. I'm happy that they didn't eliminate the headphone jack. Rest in peace, headphone jack for the iPhones. I think moving into the future, wired headphones won't necessarily be a thing at some point. I know right now we're still in this in-between world where really high quality headphones, especially for studio recording and stuff, like having that plug-in, that hard wire plug-in, makes a huge difference. But I do think in the future at some point you'll be able to get that same sound just completely wireless for sure. So 11.5 thickness, we have all of the colors. You have a kind of a two-tone, duotone look. On the back, you get the rich kind of pop of color. So if it's red, for instance, on the back, you get this really beautiful bright red. But then on the front and on the stem, right, let's call it the stem for lack of better words, which is what's actually propping and holding up the computer, that metal, titanium steel thing, front and that arm are actually more of a salmon color, right? So if you get a blue, the back is this beautiful blue. The front and the arm are kind of this lighter blue. So it's all blue, it's all red, but it's kind of not. So you're still getting that duotone sort of look, which is very interesting. Now, one of the other things that I love about it is just the swivel. Of course, the iMac already had the swivel, but just having that flat kind of surface that you can like pivot a little bit, it's really nice. I am not gonna miss the bubble backs, bubble back. Bubble back. Bubble butt. Bubble butt. Bubble butt. Bubble butt. Bubble butt. Bubble butt. Yeah. Good song. I'm not gonna miss the bubble back. I think the flat design is the way to go. what I was really wanting out of this iMac was kind of what we got, sort of like an iPad attached to an arm that props it up and holds it up and call it a day. Now, as far as like the front goes, one of the things that we have to discuss, one of the biggest issues and beefs that everyone's having with this new iMac and the new redesign, which was highly anticipated, rightfully so, is the chin. Okay, we got that big old honking chin on the iMacs, and people are not really happy about it. So I wasn't either. John Prosser, who is kind of an Apple leaker, well-known Apple leaker, had put out renderings of a iMac redesign, and it didn't have the chin. So I think everybody was expecting like a very thin bezel going around, but no chin. In this instance, Apple actually decided to keep the chin, and if you look, the whole computer is actually inside of that chin. So there's a lot of internals that, as opposed to just putting in the back, they actually were able to fit down below in the chin. But what's interesting is that the front of the chin doesn't even have the Apple logo. So the old iMacs used to have the Apple logo on the front, and now the new ones don't. I personally don't like the chin, right? I actually hate the chin. However, I appreciate the fact that they took off the logo. Now, people are saying, why would you have a chin if there's no logo on it? The purpose of the chin is not to just have a logo on it, but to hold the new M1 chip that is within it, and also all of the rest of the internals. And I'll get to the M1 chip in a second, but the internals are all in that chin, more or less. So they're not in the back anymore. And I don't know why, or if they couldn't just take what was in that chin and put it in the back and maybe make it a little bit thicker. You know, like I personally would have loved that to eliminate the chin. But all that to say, the chin is still there. It's there and it's strong, man. There was a Timmy Turner, a Fairly Odd Parents character maybe, that had a big chin. Maybe it wasn't that show, I forget, but I just can see it. I can see his chin. It was like a character. It's like a superhero. Chin Man, or Chinian, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll put it up here in the video. So, yeah, a lot of people are not happy about this particular thing. Now, the iMac in itself does have the new M1 chip, so they got rid of the Intel processor, and they finally put in Apple's silicon. This is a big deal. It's gonna run super, super fast, and we have to keep in mind, y'all, this is replacing the base line iMacs, right? So this is not a replacement for the 27-inch. This is a 24-inch iMac. The overall size of it is actually closer to that 21 size, but because of the new thinner bezels, it's actually a 24-inch screen. So we have to keep that in mind. This is the baseline, desktop computer for Apple, and they were honestly able to keep it at the same price that the other ones were. It didn't jump in price or anything. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck if you were in the market for a baseline iMac. We're not talking about pros. We're not talking about people who are doing, massive editing and all that sorts of stuff. Like, you can do that on this iMac. But I think all of those people who would consider themselves pros, as Apple would define them, are really looking and waiting for the iMac Pro. So that's where that kind of gets interesting. This does have the M1 chip, but I believe that the new iMac Pros, which if I had to guess would be unveiled at WWDC or DubDub or Quadruple UDC, however you want to say it, I think they're going to be released there. My kind of thinking, and if it all aligns the way I'm thinking, my train of thought is that for the entry level basic iPads, for example, they have colors. They're fun. The branding, they remember the Slinky that was kind of shooting down each iPad last year. It's very fun. But then you have the iPad Pros that are slate gray, silver, very kind of serious, but also like really, really sleek. This year, iPhone 12, for example, the iPhone 12 phones have all of the colors, right? We got the iPhone 12 mini and the iPhone 12 and the blue and the red, and now the purple that was just unveiled at this past event. So a lot of the fun, more lighthearted colors and looks and feels and aesthetics, and even marketing kind of coincide with just the regular base level iPhone 12s. And then for the iPhone 12 Pro, you have silver, you have black or slate gray or whatever you want to call it, Pacific blue, and gold. My guess is that to follow suit, the iMacs, the regular traditional baseline iMacs, are going to come in with all the fun colors and things that about it that, you know, you might feel like are a compromise. You have to remember it's the basic iMac. So my prediction is that at WWDC, quadruple UDC, WWW, whatever, they're going to unveil a new iMac Pro along with the new MacBook Pros that are much more sleek, much more in line with what people are wanting and thinking. Now, the biggest question mark to me is it going to have that chin still? I don't know. But I do think I could see Apple totally creating an iMac that's the you know, the titanium or the steel, the silver look, the slate gray, the black, all those sorts of things to the iMac Pro. That would simply align with what they're already doing. The base level gets all the fun, cool, cutesy type stuff. The Pro models, you know, get a lot of those really cool details that I think a lot of people were looking forward to in this one. So I'm checking out my iPad as I'm talking, so if you guys see me looking over here, please forgive me. But Big Sur, obviously, that's going to come is the Mac OS that's going to be running on all of these computers as we get them. It's available. I believe the iMacs are available for pre-order really soon. Yeah, overall, I mean, I think it's a really cool design. I like it. I tend to be a minimalist. I appreciate it. I will not be buying it. I am hoping and praying for a computer at some point, but it will not be this one. I'm gonna hold out till June to see what comes at WWDC and just see if like my prediction's correct, because I would hate to get an iMac and kind of get like, I'd probably get the middle level one. Like there's an entry level at 1,300 or so, or 1,200 something, and then there's a 1,500, and there's like a 1,700. I might be wrong about that last price, but there's 3 models within the base model of iMac, and so I would probably get one of those 2 more heavy-duty ones just to be running the Creative Cloud and all that sort of stuff. But I'm gonna hold out to see what comes. The cool thing about the keyboard, not the base $1,200 one. If you get that one will not come with a keyboard that has Touch ID. Okay, so one of the features that they put in was the Touch ID on the keyboard to unlock your computer. If you get that $1,200 iMac, it will not come with that, but the $1,500 and up model do come with that Touch ID feature, which is really cool. It might be, you know, there's definitely other perks that come with those models. It's not just paying more for the Touch ID. And to me, if you're gonna get this iMac, you might as well get in the middle, like get that $1,500 one, spend the extra $300 and get something that, you know, is gonna be powerful enough to do things, whatever you need right now, but also potentially in the future. You wanna plan, I feel like 5 to 6 years is like, unless you're someone who like gets the new stuff every year, but I think with most reasonable people who don't do that, like I don't, I think every 5 or 6 years is like reasonable to get a computer. And so you just want to be really careful that you're making a good investment and doing your homework and research. And I think a lot of people just don't know what's coming down the road, and so they make a purchase, and then in 2 months they find out that at WWDC something else got released, and boom, they're bummed out, they're sad, they just, you know, they're $1,500 in the drain, and they have buyer's remorse. And that's what I don't want for you guys. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful. I'm really excited to see the design from Apple. I love product design. I'm fascinated by it. It's something that I would love to get into more, is just to develop products that are simple and useful and practical and there when you need them, but disappear in the background when you don't, because they're just beautiful. And I think iMacs are one of those things, right? There are so many computers that may be more powerful potentially. I mean, I with the M1 chip, Apple's pushing pretty hard with this stuff, and when you're speccing stuff out, you know, it's really comparable to a lot of PCs. But the thing about PCs is that they're not always beautiful. They don't disappear aesthetically into a space, and I think that's one of the things that Apple does really well, is that they create an iMac that really looks beautiful with a plant, or, you know, like it just kind of disappears into your space, and it's there when you need it, but it disappears into the background when you don't. And I think the best technology does that. It's there when you need it and disappears when you don't need it. So anyways, guys, your perspective matters, my perspective matters. Sometimes you just need a damn good perspective. And I hope this was one. If not, give this video a thumbs down. This was sponsored by absolutely no one. I love you guys so much. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.